Welcome back. Now on the foreign scene. Aid agencies have warned that North Korea is facing a humanitarian disaster after tens of thousands of people were displaced by flooding. The UN and the International Red Cross say the government has reported 133 deaths with nearly 400 persons missing and homes and crops destroyed. Rescue teams have been unable to reach some of the worst hit areas. North Korea already has chronic food shortages and is heavily dependent on foreign aid to feed its population. The UN has allocated $8 million this year for humanitarian aid in the isolated country. The flooding triggered by the recent Typhoon Lion Rock comes as North Korea faces global anger for conducting its fifth nuclear test. Friday's detonation, believed to be the North's biggest test so far, is expected to lead to a tightening of sanctions. The worst flooding is along the Tumen River, which borders China. Many areas in Musan and Yeonsa countries are entirely cut off, said the UN. Chris Staines, who is leading a Red Cross delegation in North Korea, said the region was facing a very major and complex disaster. Luxembourg Foreign Minister Jean Asselborn has called for Hungary to be suspended or even expelled from the European Union because of its massive violation of EU fundamental values. He cited the Budapest government's treatment of refugees, independence of the judiciary, and freedom of the press. Hungary joined the EU in 2004, while the European Union can reject or delay a candidate from joining. It is not thought to have the power to expel an existing member state. When the far-right Freedom Party joined Austria's government in 2000, EU member states responded by freezing bilateral diplomatic relations with Austria. Later that year, the EU ended Austria's diplomatic isolation. A referendum takes place on the 2nd of October when Hungarians will be asked to decide on an EU quota to take in refugees. Prime Minister Viktor Orban has strongly criticized the EU's plans to relocate 160,000 refugees across the bloc, and his government has campaigned vigorously for a no vote. Hungary was caught up in an enormous influx of migrants and refugees a year ago as more than 1 million people headed through Central Europe from the shores of Greece towards Germany and other Western European countries. Eventually, it sealed its borders with Serbia and Croatia and built a 175-kilometer razor wire fence to stop people crossing on their way to Austria. Some 10,000 police and soldiers have been deployed to guard the frontier. Mr. Asselborn, whose country is a founder member of the EU, complained that Hungary's border fence was getting higher, longer, and more dangerous. And now on sport.